Welcome back to the Tip TV Health Show. We are talking about mental health. We've got Dr Charlie from Harley here. Right, the next specialised subject is ASD, something I don't know anything about. I know this man's got more letters after his name than in his name. Is this an acronym for something very...
Yeah, this is an
sensitive?
acronym for autism spectrum disorders, and why it's called a spectrum is there's a range of illness, and the main aspect of that illness may be an inability to normally communicate with other people. So often someone with an autism spectrum disorder may appear as a very withdrawn person.
Right.
And within that withdrawnness, they may focus or become obsessive about some other interest. Now that interest may be drawing, it may be writing, it may be music, and they'll put more hours into that, and they'll feel very uncomfortable having eye contact or engaging with somebody else.
It's almost like a hobby addiction.
Yes, there's a lot of that goes on, and there's some very talented people with autism spectrum disorder. There's a young chap who you can fly him in a helicopter over London, and
he does the crayon.
That's right. Yeah,
unbelievable.
He can sketch the whole of London, which is
right.
incredible. So, and within society, people with autism spectrum disorders have had sometimes that element of genius in another area. There's a word which is a bit un-PC now, but they used to call them idiot savants. And the film Rain Man with Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman focused on that aspect of autism spectrum disorder. The reason we're talking about the mental health side is that it's not a mental health disease, but partly, I think, because of the way society expects to interact with people with autism spectrum disorder. A recent Swedish study showed that 75% do suffer from some form of mental health disorder.
So we've almost all got it.
Well, a lot of people with autism spectrum disorder do suffer with a mental health disorder on top of that, and some suffer from two. And the recent Swedish study was quite shocking because it shows they live shorter lives.
Right.
So a fair number are killing themselves early, a fair number are dying.
And that's suicide, is it?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Okay.
And a fair number are suffering from heart disease. So they're losing between 15 and 20 years of life. Now this, as a society, we've got to ask, can we fix that?
Right. Going back to the film Rain Man, that was a film I watched 20, 30 years ago, but it's still fixed in my mind, the brilliance of that brain.
Absolutely. I remember the Qantas line and why one should travel Qantas, because they'd never had an accident, so you knew all the plane stats and everything else. So what I think can happen is that when your mind is not focused on society and eye contact and engaging, your mind kind of almost internalizes and can become very brilliant in another area. We have more distractions. So that could be part of the reason that some people with autism spectrum disorder have a higher focus and are able to specialise in certain areas.
But again, going back to that Rain Man film, I always remember the sheer brilliance of this brain when it came into sort of the gambling side of the markets and et cetera, the ability to make, well, just be visionary.
Absolutely. I think, you know, we talked about a spectrum of disorders, and I believe that there are a lot of lawyers who have autism spectrum disorder but were never diagnosed.
Right.
And the problem for them is that they have what we call Asperger's syndrome, so that's the adult version. So they are brilliant at an aspect of the law and they become very niche in that aspect. Where they develop a problem is when the firm says, now go out and socialise.
And they can't do it.
They can't do it. And that causes them to break down. Right. They may choose to take drugs, alcohol, all the things that aren't going to benefit them.
Okay. So if I'm a lawyer watching this and I realise I've got it, okay, and I am drinking too much, and I'm just because I'm insecure almost.
Absolutely.
Okay, what's the remedy?
Okay, I would look on the website of Simon Baron-Cohen. He's a professor at Cambridge University. He's easy to remember because he's a cousin of Sacha Baron-Cohen, who played Ali G. And Simon's done a lot of work on autism spectrum disorder. He has even questionnaires there that you can fill in to find out where you might be on that spectrum.
That sounds absolutely terrifying to me. Dr. Charlie, thank you for that. Let's take a very quick break and we'll be straight back. Thank you.